You are listening to 1252 Sports Entertainment. Parental discretion may be advised.
Woo! It's about that time. FatMike, Chicago Sports. Yeah. Finally here. Shot City Sports is right here. Updates on news, get it here. No rumors, cause we keep it real. FatMike. Sit back, relax, sugar beer, one of them nights.
Hey, this is Carmen DeFalco from ESPN Chicago, and you're listening to the FatMike Sports Show.
Hey, this is Dave Richard from CBS Sports, and you're listening to the FatMike Chicago Sports Show.
Hi, this is Jesse Rogers from the FatMike Chicago Sports Show.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott Merkin, the longtime White Sox beat writer for MLB.com and proud graduate of the University of Michigan. You're listening to me on the FatMike Chicago Sports Show.
This is Chuck Arfine, and you are listening to the FatMike Chicago Sports Show. It's the best.
Hey, what's up? This is Greg Braggs Jr. from Braggs in the Stands, and you're listening to my guys on the FatMike Chicago Sports Show. Boom!
Hey everyone, Fred Huebner from ESPN 1000. Great to be on the FatMike Chicago Sports Show. I'm Dan Zaborski, senior writer for Fangraphs, and you're listening to FatMike Chicago Sports Show.
I'm JJ Stankovitz from NBCSportsChicago.com and the Undercenter podcast, and you're listening to the FatMike Chicago Sports Show.
Hey Sparkle, you know what I listen to? It's the FatMike Chicago Sports Show with my guy, Fat Mike. If you listen anywhere else, no jock. Listen to Fat Mike. He's the best.
All right, everybody, what's up, and welcome back to another week of the FatMike Chicago Sports Show. I, as always, am your host, Fat Mike, and this is my dojo. I'm all hooked up on Cobra Kai the last 3 days. I've binge watched it, but we're not talking Cobra Kai here. All right, but joining me every single week is my heterosexual life mate, Angelo Ace Camacho. Let's welcome him on into the stream with us. Angelo, my man, how's it going, homie?
What's up, Mike? How you doing tonight?
Oh, dude, I'm ready to kung fu, bro. I'm ready to kung fu this show out of the atmosphere, bro. I'm telling you.
Kung fu fighting, huh?
I'm all Cobra Kai'd out, man. I don't know what I got so bored today. I started watching the old school Karate Kids, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
I was never a real big fan of Karate Kid, man.
Well, it's because you're a lame ass. I don't know what to tell you.
I like the Three Ninjas. That was my movie.
If you don't like Karate Kid, I'm pretty sure you're a communist. Like, plain and simple. That's
don't tell anybody, man.
That's where you fall into everything. I'm pretty sure you're a communist if you do not like Karate Kid. So you got that going for you, Angelo. Congratulations.
That's what's up. I'll take it.
There you go. So yeah, man, dude, a lot of stuff happening in sports this week, man. We got breaking news that Philip Dang Nabbit Rivers is retiring.
Dang Nabbit.
God darn it, he's retiring. I love Philip Rivers, man. Great career out in San Diego, and had a nice little year here out in Indy, bringing that team to the playoffs. Man, I can't believe he's finally retiring. Dude, he's played with some of the all-time greats, though, man.
Yeah.
LaDainian Tomlinson and Antonio Gates, and he's had some guys around him.
They continue to always stutter out in the playoffs.
That's San Diego for you.
That's what his
legacy. Listen, man, come on, give the guy a little bit of credit, man. He's been one of the better quarterbacks in the league for the better half of 15 years.
Yeah, definitely top 15 for a while.
Yeah, I would say top 10 for a while, man. There was,
I guess
he's legit, man. He's legit. I like Philip Rivers. I think he's a stud.
I think he's good too. He's good at fantasy too, especially. He would put up big numbers in fantasy football. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's been a stud. He's always that guy that gets you like 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. I liked Philip Rivers, man. He was good for what he was for a long time.
Yeah, he helped that team definitely get further than I think they would have without him.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, hey, other than that, man, we got other news here. Let's bring it back home to Chicago here. Cubs not re-signing John Lester. John Lester taking a 1-year deal for the Nationals. That kind of breaks my heart a little bit. That hurts.
Yeah, I don't know what the Cubs are doing, man. It's pretty frustrating, actually. Like, how do you – this whole offseason and last year they were talking, oh, poor me. Like if you put yourself in that situation as an organization where this is the situation you're in right now, shame on you.
Right.
I mean, who could have predicted a pandemic, right? Other teams are spending money. The Padres are spending money. The White Sox are spending money. The Dodgers always spend money. You know, like it's just a letdown to the fans.
It is. It is, man. And listen, I've been a Cub fan since I've been growing up. Everybody knows this. You guys listening to live, you guys listening to the pod. I mean, everybody knows that I'm a Cub fan, and I am not a White Sox fan by any stretch of the imagine whatsoever, okay? It breaks my heart, man. John Lester was one of my go-to guys. He was my favorite Cubs from the moment that we got him. Not only because, you know, I knew because of what he was bringing to the Cubs, like, oh, that's the first big signing that the Cubs have made. It's also because, like I've said on the show before, that I've also been a big-time Red Sox fan for a long time, man. Like, ever since I was a little kid and fat-ass Mo Vaughn hit 2 3-run homers against the White Sox when I went to go see him play, all right, I've been a Red Sox fan. And to get John Lester, I mean, I've watched this man's entire career. That's what's cool too, Angelo, is now we're getting to that age. You know, I'm going to be 33 here in about a month. You're a couple of years younger than I am.
Yeah, I'm only 30.
Right, so you're a couple of years younger than I am. But we're getting to that age now where we're going to see ball players, and we're going to be like, I've watched that guy's entire career.
Yeah.
I've watched his entire career. It's the same thing with Phillip Rivers, John Lester, Big Ben, Eli Manning. I've watched those guys' entire careers.
Yep.
And it's sad, man. It's sad. When those guys go out there, I mean, look at what's going on with Drew Brees. You know what I mean? To kind of steer it off of John Lester a little bit, we've all seen Drew Brees just kind of not be the Drew Brees of old. Can't throw the ball over 25 yards anymore. It's sad to see.
Well, like we've watched guys like Brian Urlacher, you know what I mean, come into the league and play his whole career for the Bears, you know, the team that we love. And it's always a little sad when you see somebody like that kind of start to lose it a little bit, especially like Lester last year. You know what I mean? He definitely took a step back a lot. Was he washed up? I don't think so. I think they did him dirty. I think they could have brought him back for cheap, you know, had him as the 4th, 5th starter, eat some innings, that kind of, you know, even maybe a bullpen session every once in a while. I don't know. It's to me, they were so like, oh, we're going to hold on to everybody from the 16 World Series way too long. And now all of a sudden they're just like, all right, get rid of everybody from the World Series team.
Yeah, you know, you're right on there, Angelo. I mean, I don't know if so far they did it. Do you say it's getting dirty? I mean, why hold on to a guy like that when he has an opportunity to win another World Series? Are they doing him a favor? Is it a secret message in a message? You know, I mean, I'm almost at the point where can you do that? The Washington Nationals still have a good team out there. They still got Juan Soto. They still got a lot of bats around. John Lester is not going to hurt that team.
Right, okay? But Lester wouldn't have hurt the Cubs team either. Like, in reality,
exactly,
he wanted to be here with the Cubs, right? Like, what's the worst thing that happens? You know, at this point,
he wins you 8 games. That's the worst thing that happens, right?
Right. You're lucky right now if you're going to win 80 games this year.
Oof. I think that's. We're going to talk. Next week is our big baseball week show, man. I cannot wait for that. We got a real big baseball week show, and I'm really happy. We're bringing on Scott Merkin. We're bringing on hopefully Kyle Malzahn, your buddy.
Yep, my buddy Kyle.
And we're going to be talking Cubs Sox, getting ready for spring training and stuff like that. And these are some of the things that we're going to ask some of these guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Angelo, we got a big show here tonight, man. We got a great show tonight. We got our guy Salim coming on here to talk Bulls. I'm really excited about that. We're going to be talking Bulls in the 8:00 hour here. And we also got our guy Les from Windy City Gridiron coming on with us, going to shoot the shit with us. He also does the T Formation podcast out there, which is going to be really cool, which is a really good show. I listen to that show all the time during the season. If you guys aren't listening to that, listen to that. But not only that, but the Fat Mike Show has some big news here, man. The Fat Mike Show is starting February 1st. We are going to be having a new sponsor, Angelo. Can you believe it? Look at us, man. We're kicking ass.
I know.
We got a new sponsor.
on that sponsor grind, man.
I got to.
Right.
Gotta keep ourselves afloat, man. Our new sponsor is Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group by John Durin team out in Homer Glen, Illinois here. I'm really excited to bring him on board. I'm really excited to have him on. He helped me and my fiance and I get our shit going and find our place and all that other good stuff. And I'm really happy to bring him on board the Fat Mike 1252 brand. It's going to be really awesome having him. So make sure you guys, everything's going to be up and ready to go. You guys are going to be hearing them all throughout the year here. We got a good thing going, and hopefully John hears us and more kudos to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there we go. But yeah, I mean, not only that, but hockey's back. The Bulls are back. I mean, there's so much other stuff.
I mean, is hockey really back though?
Hey, listen, the Blackhawks. I don't care if the Blackhawks win a game this year. All right, they're not going to be in the same type of situation that my guys were in, that my Bears were in this year. All right, where you expect them to be good, and then they're not good. Going into this year, I knew the Blackhawks weren't going to be any good, and we're going to have Scott Powers on here soon too. Yeah. I already talked to Scott from The Athletic. He's going to be on here with us too. But I'm really excited, man. Tonight's going to be a great show. I'm really excited to get into it. In about 15 minutes here, like I said, we got our guy Les from Windy City Gridiron coming on here with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm pumped up for that, man.
Yeah.
Angelo, I mean, what else, man? I mean, what else do we got going on here?
I'm going to be dropping a new article that I'm working on. Should be done tonight. Yes. Hopefully we can put it up there tomorrow for everybody to read. It's my my breakdown of the 2021 season for the Bears.
Yeah.
My prediction, at least. I know there's a lot of fans out there that are going to be pretty pissed off at me for the record that I gave the Bears. I was way too optimistic going into this year. I think I predicted them to be 11 and 5.
And I predicted them to be 7-9.
Yeah, and it didn't go my way. So I went at this with a fine-tooth comb. I put my Bear fandom on the shelf, and I looked at it from a open perspective. Let's hope I'm wrong. Let's just say that. But
don't do that no more. Don't do that no more.
Yeah, it's I don't think personally it'll be a fun year next year, regardless of who the mighty defensive coordinator is going to be.
It's going to be tough, man. Next year is going to be it doesn't look like a very promising year. The schedule released going forward, it does not look good. I know. I mean, let's run through it, man. We got the Steelers. I know we got the Ravens. I know we got the Browns. I know we got San Fran. I know we have the Packers twice, Detroit twice, Minnesota twice.
Yep.
I think we play the Buccaneers again too.
Yep,
Somewhere
play the Bucks, the Browns, the Steelers.
It don't look good, all right. But I mean, it don't look good.
No,
and it doesn't look promising. And that's something we're going to be talking to our guy Lester Wiltfong again. Like I said, Lester Wiltfong from the Windy City Gridiron. He's going to be on here with us in about 15 minutes. We're going to bring that up to him and see what exactly is going forward here. Because, I mean, right now, it's a shot in the dark, Angelo. There's no idea what the hell we're going to be doing at quarterback.
Right.
I put out a tweet this morning of just free agent quarterbacks that are hitting the market.
Yeah, I've seen that.
There's not much on that list, man. I mean, there really isn't. There's not a whole hell of a lot on that list, and it's scary because either you bring back Trubisky, which they pretty much shit on him in that interview that they had, the press release or whatever the hell they did. They pretty much told this guy, like, yeah, dude, like we need better quarterback play.
Yeah, the circus show that was Hallis Hall.
By the way, go to our store, guys. I'll put up the little thing here. You guys can get our new shirt. It's going to be up tomorrow. I just talked to Jamie too, our girl over at who runs our store, which is really nice, the 1252 Sports Store. You can go to the superiorembroidery.net Fat Mike shop home. Go there and go get your Three Stooges t-shirt with Pace Nagy and the other dildo on there, Ted Phillips, and you could. You could also get our Unbearable shirt. To make you guys real sports fans, real Bears fans.
You could be a Bears fan and still hate the team at the same time.
Yeah, dude. Listen, and that's another thing too. I got into a Twitter war earlier this week with some jerk off, and that's what he is. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just gonna call it like how I see it. He is a jerk off. All right. I got into some Twitter war with some guy earlier this week. And he's like, "You're not a Bears fan. You're miserable. Blah, blah, blah. You're telling me you had no fun watching the Bears this year?" No.
What was fun about watching the
No,
Bears this
there
year?
was no fun watching that team that year. He's like, I feel bad for you. And I told him, I was like, wait until next year. I'm like, when they play all these teams. Because I'm almost in the same shoes you are, Angelo, where this team's only going to win about 4 or 5, maybe 6 games next year.
Oh, dude.
All right.
You know what? Next week, if we have some time, we'll post my article, and then we'll go over the article early on in the show and talk about why I predicted what I predicted. Because
not only that, though, but not only that, we also got, and this reminds me, thank you so much, Tarbill, our guy, man. I love this kid. This kid's always he's always up our ass on our shows, man. I love this guy. He just made a comment on the Facebook. Thoughts on Mike Singletary as defensive coordinator? I guess there's been talks with that.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Why?
Because
Why?
Because
he's an old Bear name
right now.
There's a reason why the guy hasn't been in the NFL since San Fran kicked his ass out.
So the only reason I would say go ahead is because
why not?
The record that I have predicted for this team next year, if they bring anybody back, it's a joke. Literally. Right. The record that I have this team, I'll spoil it. I have them at 4 wins max next year, 5 maybe if they're lucky. So really, what's it going to hurt if they bring him in? At this point, I don't think the defensive coordinator that they bring in anyways will be there after next year anyways.
Right, and I don't think, honestly, when it boils down to it, the end of next year, I mean, I think the Bears have to win at least 9 games next year for them to keep on the pace and Nagy.
Well, yeah, because if they only win 8, then they're still in the same spot.
They're still in mediocrity.
Right, and that's one thing they talked about in the press conference was that it wasn't good enough, right? It wasn't good enough last year. It wasn't good enough this year. If they go 8-8 next year, I don't care that the coach hasn't had a losing season. I don't care that Ryan Pace, whatever. You have to move on. Like, there's a little animosity I have towards them keeping these guys, especially Ryan Pace, just because of how bad he foobarred the quarterback situation. But we talked earlier. We're not going to bash the team.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, man. We've beaten
this week.
We've beaten this horse dead over the last. I mean, I know I have over the last 10 weeks. Yeah. All right, like literally, I thought this team was a complete dumpster fire from the get-go. At the beginning of the year, before the year even started, I called 7-9, and I even said I was like a possible 8-8 season. And like, I don't know how they got there. I see how they got there. I don't know how they got there. If that makes any sense, okay? Like I see how they got there.
Yeah,
they got there by playing just as bad at teams as they are.
Yep.
With
a few lucky breaks.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
that's
the game against Detroit, the first game against Detroit, they should have lost. DeAndre Swift dropped the ball on the 1-yard line, for crying out loud.
Right.
All right.
They could have lost the Falcons game.
They could have lost the Falcons game. They could have lost the Giants game.
Right. The Tampa Bay game, if Tom Brady doesn't forget that it's 4th down, I mean, there's a good chance they at least tie that game.
Right. And then
overtime.
Then you play Detroit. Then you play Minnesota, the Texans, Tampa Bay. I mean, the Tampa Bay game was nothing but luck. But you played Minnesota, the Texans, the Jaguars, Detroit again, and then you got spanked by Green Bay twice. And all these, the other thing that I want to say too, I don't care if the Bears ever beat Green Bay for the rest of my life, as long as they become a winning team.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Because all this talk that it's a rivalry. All right. Oh, that's our biggest rival. All these speedheads that are like, oh, it's our biggest rival. You're out of your mind. Let me give you a stat here, Angela. You want to hear something disgusting? 28 years. You ready for this? 28 years. Over the last 28 years, the Green Bay Packers are 42-15 against the Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah, baby. Nothing like just watching your favorite team get destroyed every year.
That's not a rivalry, dude.
Aaron Rodgers, what did we say last week? Aaron Rodgers is 20-5.
He's now 21-5.
Yeah.
21-5 against Chicago.
And I'm pretty sure 2 of those losses were he started the game and got hurt.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Listen, okay, that's fine. I'm not a Green Bay fan, man. I hate the Packers. All right, I really do. I can't stand the Green Bay Packers, okay? But it's not a rivalry. Stop calling it
Right.
a rivalry.
Nope.
It's not a rivalry.
A rivalry takes both sides to be competitive.
Right.
At the
A rivalry
same
is
time.
the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. That's
Right.
a rivalry.
Right.
All right? A rivalry is
Like the
you know-
Blackhawks and the Red Wings. That was a rivalry.
Blackhawks and the Red Wings, yeah. Or, like even something along the lines of, you can go a little bit old school, like San Fran and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Where it was like back and forth, stuff like that. Or,
The only reason that like the Cowboys and the Washington team and like the Eagles and the Giants are still
you almost said
a
it.
rivalry is because they're all trash in the same division. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like realistically, the biggest rival that the Bears have right now, maybe
I would honestly say would be the Vikings.
Maybe.
I would say the Vikings or the Lions. Hell, the Lions even beat them once a year at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
And I'm not saying go out there and just sweep through your division, but like be competitive. They are not even competitive against the Packers.
No, Angelo, they are not.
Anyway,
and that's okay.
We're not supposed to be. We're not.
No,
Supposed to
I'm not shitting on them. I'm not shitting on them. I'm just saying stop calling it a rivalry.
Right.
It's not a rivalry.
They're the hammer and we're the nail.
Right. Yeah. Believe me, I'm ready to take a hammer to my skull, the claw side.
Yeah.
Half of these games. There we go again. We going to shit on the Bears. Goose fraba.
It's hard not to, man.
Goose fraba.
They're just so frustrating. But hey, we do have some bright spots in Chicago sports, as much as it doesn't seem like it, with how terrible the Blackhawks are, how inept the Bears are, and how crummy the Blackhawks are.
Yeah,
we do have some
bright
spots for the Chicago Bulls.
Jesus, they're just shitting all over the Blackhawks now. You called them out twice in that sentence.
Well, I mean,
man, the Blackhawks are, with how terrible the Blackhawks
I meant the Cubs. That's my. I meant the Cubs, but I mean, still, the Blackhawks have played pretty poor.
Yeah, they haven't looked good. I think they're averaging giving up like 5 goals a game at this point. The defense and goalie has just been bad.
Yeah, they've
been bad.
Makes you miss Corey Crawford a little bit, huh?
Yeah, of course you're going to miss Corey Crawford. You're going to miss a 3-time Stanley Cup winner. Of course you are.
I think he was one of the most underrated players on that team.
He was. He definitely was. I'll give him that. And I miss Corey Crawford, man. I like the Crow.
Yeah. I loved him ever since the speech he gave after they won the Stanley Cup, man. Yeah. Where he's holding the belt up there. And
what did he say? Come on,
I don't remember exactly what he said. I wish I would have had it in front of me.
Oh.
But
well, like Chance the Rapper says, let's do that. Like hockey says, let's do that hockey.
There is some bright spots, I guess, for the Hawks. I mean,
I like to brink it, man. I like to brink it a lot.
And Kubalik, they're playing pretty well.
I like Kubalik.
It's unfortunate.
I like what I've seen of Ian Mitchell so far this year. That young rookie defenseman that they got.
Yep. I mean, Dylan Strome is pretty good. There's some bright spots, but I think the missing Taves is a big deal. He's your captain. You know what I mean? He's especially for these younger guys, they look to a guy like that to help guide them, especially during rough patches.
I definitely miss Jonathan Taves right now.
Yeah. I hope he comes back with a fire, man. That's what I hope. He played pretty well last year at the end of the year when they did the little bubble thing. He played pretty well.
I just hope he comes back. Comes back.
What's wrong with him? They didn't tell any.
They don't know. Yeah, right? I mean, it's still a big hush secret that they won't let us know.
That's never good.
No, that's scary. I don't like that. I hope it's nothing serious, man. I mean, Jonathan Taves has been my favorite player on the Hawks for a long time. Everybody loves Patrick Kane, but I'll take the 3-time Stanley Cup champion and 2 gold medal champ. You know what I mean? Hands down. The guy
my stepson plays hockey, man, and Taves and Kane, he's grown up with. He's 14. He's grown up with those guys, and Taves is his favorite. He loves watching him play. Get him, I get him jerseys and stuff like that, and little sweaters and stuff like that. He would be devastated if Taves couldn't come back and play.
I hope it's nothing serious. Like, I don't want to even knock. I don't even want to say what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to say that it's something so severe that he can never play again.
I feel like it's concussion situations.
He hasn't been prone to them.
Right, but what else could it be? You know what I mean?
I mean, what if it's something? I mean, like I said, this is all speculation.
Right.
There is no truth behind this whatsoever.
Right.
But I mean, I'm praying to God that it's nothing like ALS.
Ooh.
Or, I mean, look what Mario Lemieux went through. He went through like a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah.
And came back and shit. Like, I'm hoping that it's nothing so severe like that. I hope that he comes back to play some puck for our Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he's got to do what's best for him and keep himself as healthy as he can. But it's definitely a big loss. You look to Taves as the cornerstone of this team for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? And
yeah, shit. It's 2009.
Yeah. So
he's been a solid. I mean, he's been the number one captain, the number one center on that number one scoring line. That's a big deal, man.
Yep.
That's a big deal. So
Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup, that's
three Stanley Cups
right there, man.
Yeah, I mean and 2 gold medals.
Yeah.
So I mean, shit. Yeah, I mean, okay. So let's hop off hockey here. Take a second. Hold on. I'm back. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I had to like do like my fat guy stretch to turn off my fan. It was blowing in my mic real bad. It sounded like somebody just going like this.
Yeah, that's the worst. Heavy
Yeah, it
breathers.
was driving me nuts. Sounds like I'm making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, just breathing all heavy. I can't wait to eat this. Did you guys make steak? No, but yeah, no, like, so we got, now there's all this talk about getting Deshaun Watson. How do you feel about that? I know we're bumping back and forth between everything, but.
No, hey, that's what happens when you have a bunch of sports teams that are inept. There's so much stuff you can cover, man. Deshaun Watson, I know how you feel about this. If they wanted 5 first-round draft picks, take them. Take them.
The first 5?
The next 5 first-round draft picks, take them. I don't care. Because you know why? The quarterback position is what? The most important position on a football team, right? What do you use those number 1 picks for? To hopefully fall into a quarterback of the caliber of Deshaun Watson, right? That's what you use them for. That's what everybody hopes for. And if you don't need a quarterback, you either fall back in the draft or pick an offensive lineman. I think this team, you get Watson, your whole season, your whole organization outlook changes. We go from being extremely pissed off at Ryan Pace to being like, hell yeah, he got the quarterback position right. Sure, he could have had it right in 2017 and not had to give up anything. But 5 first-round draft picks later, I guess it got it right eventually.
I don't know, man. I've been back and forth on this. You look at Deshaun Watson's year this year, okay, on a 4-12 team with no offense. Yep. I mean, no offense. His line is trash at best. He has no running game. He has an old, decrepit David Johnson out there that's battling not 1 but 2, but 3 knee injuries.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All 3 of his legs have a knee injury. All right. All 3 of his legs have a knee injury. All right. And then you trade away the guy's number 1 wide receiver to Arizona. And then his next best option gets suspended for PEDs.
Yeah.
Like, this is an absolute shit show.
He put up over 4,800
yards, 33
nobody
touchdowns,
on that team.
33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions and a passer rating. It was statistically his best year since he's been in the league.
Yeah,
I think it was like a 112.5, right?
Yeah.
112. Look at this,
70% completion rate, man.
Look at this, man. No Google, no phone. No Google, no phone. I'm doing this shit off the top of my head. All right. Now, with that, Angela, just the guy that we want to bring in here, our guy, Lester Wilfong. This guy knows his shit over there at the Windy City Gridiron. He does the T-Formation podcast, and I'm happy to bring him on here. Let's bring him on here. Lester, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing great, guys. How y'all doing?
Man, I mean, we're bouncing back and forth, Les. Well, I mean, we've talked a little bit of Bulls. We've talked a little bit of Cubs, a little bit of Sox, but now we're honing back in on the Bears because you're our Bears guy here.
Yep.
So let's see what's going on here. We were just talking about the Deshaun Watson thing here, man. I know it's speculation at this point. I know that he's unhappy down there in Houston. I know that the chances of him getting out of Houston this year are very, very, very high. What are the chances in your mind that he's going to land with the Chicago Bears?
Slim to none. Honestly, I just can't see a way the Bears come up with the best package available. You know, if you're the Texans and you're going to trade away your franchise quarterback, you want a guy in return that you can plug into that spot that obviously he won't be as good as Watson, but you want a guy that is at least going to be a bridge to get you to the next guy, or you want a draft pick early enough where you can get a guy like Zach Wilson, one of these top quarterbacks going to be in the draft. So with the Bears picking at 20, with them not having a quarterback to send back of the deal, and don't give me this Nick Foles crap. You know, they don't want Nick Foles. Bears quitters
don't want Nick Foles.
No. I just don't see it happen. I see his best options is what most people think. You know, Dolphins, Jets, possibly. You know, I think the Lions are a dark horse candidate. You know, possibly the Cowboys. You know, I mean, it's one of those teams that pick in the top 10 because that's the draft pick the Texans are going to want in return.
If the Lions got Deshaun Watson,
I was going to say the same exact.
Are you kidding me?
That would not be fun. To have that guy coming to Chicago once a year, and we got to go up to him another time of year.
It'd be like going from the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, and then you got to worry about Detroit now. Ugh.
Yeah, that would not be fun. So, okay, so now we all know that the Bears sit at 20 right now, and I mean, listen, I'm one of those guys that sits there on my phone and does all the PFF drafts or the other. You know, I'm that type of guy. Okay. I'm the type of guy that downloads the next year's Madden class and does the draft like that too. You know what I mean? I purposely throw games to go 8-8 and lose to the Saints in the playoffs. You know, that's the type of Madden player I am, Les. We all know that they sit there at 20. In your mind, what should they do at 20? What do you suggest? I know what I would do. I'd go the biggest, baddest, corn-fed, fat-ass guy out in the draft and throw him there over at left tackle. That's my own opinion. I've said that the last 2 years.
I would definitely go. I would go line myself. I mean, I think at this point, like I said, at 20, it's hard. I mean, you know, they're not going to get one of the top quarterbacks. You know, maybe someone slips, and I know there's a lot of talk about Trey Lance, but I just think once the whole draft process gets started and they have a chance to really, you know, take a look at these guys up close, personal, you know, you're going to see all those guys that they expect to go early. You know, I'm not really high on Trask. I do like Mac Jones, but you know, I'm not sure if I want to take Mac Jones at 20. I mean, him going to the Senior Bowl is going to really help his stock. It'll let people see him up front, and you know, so maybe if that happens and he shows that hey, he's the real deal, because I mean, his numbers are incredible. Yes, he has some great talent at Alabama, but so did Joe Burrow last year at LSU. So, you know, if this guy can produce, he's not the best athlete, but he's not like. You know, he's not like a horrible athlete. I mean, he's not Nick Foles here. I mean, he can move when he has to move. He can maneuver in the pocket when he has to. You know, he looks to move to get better throwing angles. That's one thing I noticed about his tape. So, you know, a guy like him, I wouldn't be opposed to them taking him at 20. But I'm like you. You know, give me the best offensive lineman available. You know, plug in at left or right tackle and go from there.
Well, that's one thing that kind of shies me away from Dad Bod Mac Jones. Okay, I mean. What shies me away from him is that he does, you know, yes, did he have a great year this year? Yes, he did. But that guy has fucking excuse my French. He has Oldsmobiles blocking for him.
Yeah.
Okay, like he really does. All 5 of his offensive linemen are going to get drafted, and they're going to get drafted in the first or second round. Between that big dude that they have down there, that Alex Leatherwood, and that big guard that they have, Deontay Brown. I mean, that dude, I mean, he is 6'5", 411 pounds.
He's mammoth, yeah.
And he is the back end of a Cadillac. Like, have fun trying to run past that guy. But so you're saying Mac Jones, you don't like Kyle Trask. I'm actually an advocate of Kyle Trask.
Yeah, I think he's a good prospect, but not at 20.
Right.
You know?
No, I'm the same way. If you're playing him in the second round, I would do something like that.
Yeah.
With them picking at 20, do you see them maybe trading down in the draft? Because there's still that plethora of offensive tackle, offensive linemen that are still going to be there later on in the draft. Guys like Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan, guys like Sam Cosmi out of Texas, guys like we just Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. There's still going to be that plethora of offensive tackles that you can see and that you can be able to find at the later end of the draft. Do you see them maybe possibly trading down? Yeah,
I mean, this would be the draft to do it. I haven't done a real deep dive into the prospects coming out, but I know that, just like last year, they're saying this is a really deep class for tackle. So, if there's some top guys still on the board when you're on the 20, there's some real top flight from guards. I think you got to think about moving back because, again, it all comes down to what Pace wants to do. I mean, Pace may make, do something stupid and trade way up and get his guy. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Ryan Pace, but he has to fix the quarterback spot. So, maybe something in free agency, maybe a trade, with another team, or he may just go up and get his guy again. And honestly, I'm not really big on Ryan Pace making that move.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is. To allude back to something that you said earlier about Trey Lance, you said you're not too high on Trey Lance. Can I ask why?
Like him. I just like him. Just just the small school thing. He only has the one real year of productivity. Because of the COVID, he only had one game this year.
Right.
He's another guy. He's gonna have to prove it a little bit, during the pre-draft process. But he has all the tools. Obviously, he has a good arm, really good athlete. I think at this point, if he's your guy, that's fine. But, then you better go get another veteran because I'm not sure you want to have Trey Lance come in and be your starter from day one. I think you want to go out and get a guy in. And like I said, I think Foles is fine, but get another guy, get another vet in here and let them all compete. And if Lance does win the job, fine. But I'm just not sure he wins that job day one. And I think with what the Bears have, they brought everyone back. I think you got to show something at that quarterback spot, early.
Right. And the one thing I know I get the whole small school thing. North Dakota State University is where he's at there. The one thing I like about Trey Lance is the 42 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Absolutely 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about the kid. I mean, he's smart enough not to throw the ball in crowded areas to where he can put his team at jeopardy to lose a game. And that's one thing I like about him.
Yep. For sure. As far as draft goes, I'm not the guy. I don't do that too many deep dives, but we have a couple of guys at our site, Jacob and
right. No, yeah.
Snyder. Those are the guys that really have the good draft takes. My draft takes are kind of mild.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, I'm not the draft king either here. If it was me, I still think Johnny Manziel was the shit. All right, and look how wrong I am on that one. I think he's doing I think he's playing Madden right now, and I'm doing a show.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. So now with going into next year, we have Nick Foles as our starter. Is that the right move? Is there a free agent quarterback that you see on the wire that the Bears should possibly go grab?
No, not really. I mean, obviously the big guy is Dak, but I think that Dallas is going to probably bring him back. He's going to make huge money. Obviously, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick may be a free agent. I think you can get a guy like Gardner Minshew through a trade with Jacksonville. I think the Bears, they're going to have to get creative. They know they have to get that spot right this year, so they're going to put some money or some picks into it at some point, somehow, some way. But honestly, I looked over the free agent quarterback list and Tyrod Taylor. There's not really a lot of guys on it that are really exciting. So it's going to probably be a vet via a trade, and then hopefully a rookie as well.
Isn't that kind of the problem though? Because this has been Ryan Pace's MO since the beginning. Oh, I'm going to draft a quarterback every year. And then he only drafts one, and not even the right one. Then he's got, it's been his whole draft situation, always making up by having to get a free agent because his draft pick hasn't panned out. It's just confusing to me how the Bears were able to look at that and say, okay, he's the guy that we're going to trust to find the quarterback moving forward.
I don't trust him. His quarterback decisions. I understood the Mike Lennon deal. I understood it at the time. I understood, he has conviction in Mitch. I get it. That's not the guy I would have done. I definitely wouldn't have traded up for him. No. There were, 3 guys there, and if you believe what came out about it, Pace had both Trubisky and Mahomes rated pretty high. So if that's the case, if he had those 2 guys rated high, they're both sitting there. There's only one pick ahead of you. Just stay at 3 and take the guy. If it would have been Mitch, hey, it would have been Mitch. That's the way it goes. It's wrong, obviously. But, I just don't trust him making the move. I just don't think it's right there. I think what the Bears talked about, they're all going to have a group think when it comes to making the next quarterback pick. I trust Nagy more than I trust Pace. But again, he has to hit it too. We have to see what he does.
Right. So obviously you think Trubisky's not coming back, right, Les?
I like him. I like him. I think he's a good guy. He works hard, like everyone says. He's out there. He gives his best. His teammates all love him. He's just not getting it done on the field.
I just don't know how you bring him back.
Yeah.
When you've clearly seen that him and Nagy just don't mesh. You know what I mean?
They declined the 50-year option. So right there, it tells you that what they thought about what he did a couple of years ago. So, he had a nice 2018. He wasn't able to make the next jump as a player. And then, they went out and got Nick Foles. And with as far as Foles goes, I mean, because of the whole COVID situation, that was the best chance. The best option they had was Foles. I'm sure they would have liked to get something else. Maybe Pace kind of forced Nagy, hey, you have to go with Mitch one more year. Who knows what happened behind the scenes. But I mean, you could tell that Nagy doesn't really trust Mitch to do certain things. And if you can't win from the pocket in today's NFL, you're not going to have a lot of success. I mean, the boot slide offense is great. I mean, it's a lot of quarterbacks have success with it. But at some point, you go up against a well-disciplined team, and they shut that shit down.
Right. Now, do you think that was – so in that situation with Nagy and Trubisky, do you put the onus on Nagy for not developing Trubisky to run his offense better, or is it on Trubisky for not being able to grow and learn in that situation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's a little bit of both. I think Matt Nagy, in 2019, he obviously was a little too stubborn. He really wanted to force feed his version of the offense onto the Bears. And it was clear to everyone that it wasn't working. And he didn't want to change. And then, I'm sure he thought at some point it would click for Mitch, and it just didn't click. I mean, he's making, he's not able to get off his first read a lot of times. But he does go to his second read. It's not always the right decision. Like I said, he puts the time in, but you could put all the time in as you want at that position. And sometimes it just never clicks.
Right.
Sometimes it clicks real late. If you look at a guy like Alex Smith, his first few years in San Fran, he was a first overall pick, and he was awful. I mean, he was looked at as an epic bust at that position.
Right.
And then a few years later, for whatever reason, it just clicked with him, and now he had a nice run there where he was a really serviceable quarterback for a long time, and I'm not sure if he's going to keep playing, but it just clicks for some guys later. Some guys it just never clicks for.
So Mike and we played a game last week where we tried to pick where we thought Trubisky would end up next year. Where would you see a good spot for him to go, where he can either get that starting spot or at least learn to become a better starter?
My guy Bill Zimmerman had a tweet yesterday, I think it was, and he made all these predictions and went to where
I seen this, and I was infuriated by it.
But where he put Trubisky, I thought made a lot of sense. Going to Atlanta, back up Matt Ryan. It's the Arthur Smith offense where he had some success with Ryan Tannehill.
A lot of shotgun.
That might be a good place for Trubisky there. I think going anywhere. Maybe Baltimore to back up Lamar. I can't see him getting a top quarterback spot. I can't see him getting big money. He may have to get like the Marcus Mariota kind of deal. I think it was like 2 years, $8 million, something like that. If that's the best case scenario for him, I think he'll take it. I think he'll work his way. And, we have not seen the last of him in the NFL. He'll be around for a few years. And if he gets another shot, like I said, maybe it clicks.
I told Mike that I thought it'd be interesting to see him go play in Pittsburgh. Behind Roethlisberger, they have a lot of weapons. A coach that's disciplined, an organization that has a lot of consistency. I thought that might be a place he could go and really learn and flourish after Big Ben leaves. So
yeah, I mean, it's possible. I think a place like that with an established veteran, maybe the best thing for him, because then he won't have those questions hanging over him. Hey, it just didn't work out in Chicago. If you go somewhere like that where he's clearly the number 2, you can kind of just sit back, learn, just really soak it all in and become the best quarterback you can.
Right.
I got a couple more questions for you, Les. I know that I told you I wouldn't take up too much of your time, and I apologize, my friend. But you're a very interesting guy because you know what the hell you're talking about, and that's one thing I love about you. Even all your tweets and stuff like that, I love reading what you got. With the Bears moving into next year, obviously we've seen the schedule, not the schedule per se, but we've seen the opponents.
Yeah.
As of right now, how are you feeling about next year's go with the Chicago Bears? What do you think their record's going to be?
I mean, until we see the quarterback spot, I mean, you can't go any higher than 8-8. I mean, it just has to be, another boring, mediocre season. They'll win some games because of the defense has still got a few good playmakers over there. The offense may luck into a few, but until we see how the O-line really shapes up, and I think the O-line, has a chance to be, much better than it was this year. But again, quarterback, who's the quarterback? Is it Foles? If it's Foles, then they're not going to win anything. If it's a rookie, they're not going to win anything. If it's a veteran that comes in that's at least established where he can at least run an offense, efficiently, a guy like Alex Smith, for example, then maybe they push for a playoff spot again. But honestly, until we know who the quarterback is, that's such a hard question to answer.
Yeah, I think so too, man. It's going to be tough. I know Angelo and I have kind of went on about it, and I'm sitting there. I say at most they're going to probably win about 6 games with what they got going ahead, because who knows what's going on with Big Ben. He's been retiring for the last 7 years, it seems like. Yeah. All right, so you can possibly beat a Pittsburgh team, but Browns are on the up and up. Bucks are on the up and up. It's going to be a rough schedule, man.
I have them at 4-12 next year. That's it's going to be hard to find wins. The Browns are better than them.
Yeah.
Arizona's better than them. You're playing Tampa Bay. The only reason you lost or won against Tampa is because Tom Brady forgot what down it was.
Yeah, but you might luck into something, though, Angelo. Every single quarterback the week before we play him might go down with a season-ending injury.
I mean, that's true, but we're Bears fans. You have to remember, luck isn't always on our side.
Yeah, we're Bears fans. We got to expect misery at all time, right? Isn't that what it is? Isn't that what it is, Les? We got to expect misery at all time.
The way I look at it is, if when it's going good, it's great. When it's going bad, it can always get better. So, I mean, as Bears fans, we have not seen a winner in a long time, a consistent winner, that is. So, but we're still there. We're still all fans.
All right, I got 2 more for you, and they're kind of shit show questions, Les, and I'll let you go, okay?
Sure.
Would you take? Okay, how do I put this, Angelo? I think you know what I'm trying to say, but the Packers losses here.
Oh.
All right. Would you care if the Bears lost both games against the Packers every single year and made the playoffs?
No, yeah, I'd be fine with that. I mean,
right?
At the end of the day, get in the tournament. That's all that happens.
Right. Do you think that's a rivalry?
8-8.
Do you think that's a rivalry, the Bears-Packers? Is it still a rivalry?
To some players it is, to some coaches it is, to fans it is. But honestly, you look at the record. I mean, it hasn't been a really, it hasn't been a close-sided rivalry for a long time now. So, I mean,
42-15 over the last 28 years.
Right. So since the 80s, it hasn't even been competitive.
Right.
Funny because, like, when I was younger, I mean, that was my wheelhouse. The 80s, early 90s. Like when I was growing up, the Packers sucked.
Yeah.
They always got their asses kicked, like always.
Right.
And like, Brett Favre comes along, and their fortunes change. Aaron Rodgers is there waiting. Come on.
Like, I live in Wisconsin.
Hall of Famers, horrible.
I live in Wisconsin, Les. So, like, for me, it's been terrible my entire life.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. It's been just one guy after the other, and I wear my Bears jersey.
What was that? Matt Flynn for one game.
Jesus.
Miserable. Les, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
50.
You're 50?
Yeah, believe it or not.
God damn, you look good for 50. You got the George Clooney thing going on for 50. Right. Look at you. You can say that. Be like, Fat Mike said I get the George Clooney thing going on for 50.
Going on my Twitter bio right away.
You don't look it, man. You don't look it. All right. So now, really quick, I gotta. This is only another to squash another beef that I had earlier in Twitter. That's why I want to bring you up in this. Did you have fun? Was it fun being a Chicago Bears fan this year? As a fan, not as what you do over at Windy City Gridiron and all that other stuff. Was it fun?
Nah, it's been a disappointing couple of years now for Bears fans, for me also. I mean, when it's game day, obviously I'm hyped for game day, and I'm excited for the start of it. And if they're winning, it's fine. But like I said, the last 2 years, 8-8, 8-8.
Right.
And then if you look at some of those wins, yeah, they weren't pretty wins, but they were stressful wins, and there's not too much fun to be gained from a stressful last-second win against the Lions. That's not exciting and fun as a Bears fan. I like close games. give me some blowouts. I want the Bears to dominate. That's what I want to see.
Even that, you bring up a good point right there, Les, because what I was about to say was I had more times, especially during the wins, that I was bitching at the team, bitching at my television, than I had enjoying watching the football game.
Yeah,
that's legit. That's legit. Les, thank you for joining us, my man. Where can all my guys find you? Where can we find you?
WindyCityGridiron.com. Also, we got the podcast channel. You can find that anywhere, Windy City Gridiron as well. And then you can catch me on Twitter at WiltfongJR.
Les, I appreciate you coming on with us, man. We're going to get you on before the draft. We'll shoot some more shit with you, okay?
Anytime, fellas. Have a good one.
All right, Les, you take care, my man. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, that's Les. Les is fucking badass. Oh, I dropped an F-bomb. My bad. I'm trying to keep it clean, guys. I'm trying to keep it a little more PC until I get really heated. All right. I was told that I sound like a moron when I swear too much. All right. So, I mean, well, stupid isn't stupid does, sir.
I actually heard that people who swear often are considered geniuses. So,
you
must be Einstein.
I must be. I've held together pretty good here so far, though, Angelo.
You have. We've only dropped a few F-bombs. And, we do have a parental advisory before the show. So, I mean.
Right.
It's way better than it used to be.
The logo is a parental advisory, for crying out loud. So you should know walking into this thing that, we're going to swear a little bit. But I'm trying to keep it clean because, maybe someday you and I get a divorce, Angelo. Maybe you and I divorce and I go on to big and better things and leave you in my dust and, or vice versa.
No, it'd be the other way around most of the time.
No, I don't think so. You're a lot more calmer than I am. You're like Mr. Miyagi. All right, to bring it back to a Cobra Kai reference. You're like Mr. Miyagi, and I'm like Daniel LaRusso, okay? I'm a hothead, and I'll strike you. Like, yeah, right in the face, yeah. I mean, I'll boot you right in the face. But, yeah, it was great having Lester on, man. Lester knows his shit. Listen, if you guys aren't following him, it's at Lester Wilfong Jr. Or at Wilfong Jr. On Twitter. He's the man. If you listen to his stuff, if you watch his tweets, I listen to that podcast all the time. I mean, I've been listening to those guys since before I started my podcast. All right, Angela, and that's legit, Angela. If you're not listening to them, you should, because those guys are smart over there. And I'm glad he was able to join us tonight.
Yeah, it was good having him on. It's always nice getting other fans and another guy's perspectives. Fans are, as a fan, you have one. I'm glad you asked that question to him at the end. Like, did you enjoy watching them as a fan? Because there's a difference between like my fandom and then having to try to figure out legit reasons why I can't stand this team. Does that make sense? Like, As a fan, I always want this team to win, no matter what,
Right, yeah, of course, man.
But looking at it logically, there's different – it's not always so black and white. And that's what a lot of Bears fans have a problem with. You bash on the Bears and they automatically say, well, you can't be a fan. I think it's different. I think if you just blindly follow anything – no matter what, then you're just a weak-minded individual.
Right.
Personally. That's just
then you're just a waterhead.
Yeah, I mean, for real, like, if you're just going to blindly be like, oh, the Bears will be great next year. Okay, why? For what reason? They were 8-8. They were 8-8. They can't get worse than that. No, they can get worse than that. They got lucky to be 8-8 this year.
Right.
Right? The only reason they made the playoffs is because they added a playoff team. Period.
And that was a gratuitous amount of luck, too, because even after they added the playoff team, Angelo, they had to wait and backdoor in with a Cardinals loss.
Yes. And the only reason the Cardinals lost is because Kyler Murray
went down.
Right.
Right.
So
I agree.
I agree. It's frustrating, man, because and that's what the Bears used as justification to keep
everybody. Right.
And I get it. We haven't had a losing season. Whoop-de-doo. But in the same breath,
in the last
that's what I was just going to say. I want to have a winning season.
Right.
I want to be a consistent 10, 11, 12, 13-win team. Yeah. I don't want to be 8-8, 7-9, 9-7.
I don't want to be
8-8 is crap.
I don't want to be 8-8. I don't want to be 9-7. I don't want to be 7-9.
I hate it here. I always post that on Twitter, man. Anytime I see a story that's just sad about the Bears, I just tweet it with the caption, I hate it here, because it's true.
I hate it here. This purgatory that is the Chicago Bears. I hate it.
Right, man. It's like It's like we rely on, as a fan base, a team from the 80s to keep us happy, and that's sad that we have to be like, well, at least in 85, we had the best defense and we won a Super Bowl. I wasn't even alive.
Like I got a real good quote from the chat. I wish these guys on Facebook would come and join on the YouTube chat because
then we can share it.
Yeah, then I could bring it up on the screen. But on Grant Sims, our guy Grant Sims says, again with the Cobra Kai, baby. Ah! All right. He comes out, he says, Matt Nagy gives me Daniel LaRusso vibes. Always thinks he's doing good and doing the right thing, but ends up in destruction. You are damn right, Grant Sims. 100% nail on the head. And then Tarbill says, this house is a fucking prison. This planet is bullshit.
Hey, we're trying to keep it clean here.
I know.
Tarbill.
Tarbill is making me swear.
Look what you made Mike do.
Look what you made me do again. I just had to call Tarbill a dickbag.
Yeah, now we're going into chaos over here.
Now it's absolute.
The wheels are off. Mike got his fix over here.
Yep, I'm talking about dicks and weenus, and now everything's downhill from here.
Now, to bring it back to the Bears real quick in the draft, I do like the idea. I think there's some quarterbacks later in the draft that they're obviously not going to be like, oh, that's the automatic come in right away, be the man. But there's some guys that you could look at and be like, if I had to watch him play instead of Nick Foles, I'd definitely take that. You know what I mean? Like Kellen Mond from A&M, I think he reminds me a lot of – what'd you say?
You can get him so late.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You could get him in like the third, fourth. Well, the Bears don't have a fourth round this year, but
right, yeah. They do have the fourth round. It's Nick Foles.
Oh yeah, I would trade him for a fourth round right away. But that's what I mean. Like, if you're smart about it, you could potentially. I think the Bears need to look at building more draft capital. If there's a couple tackles at that 20th spot that they're looking at, maybe consider moving back in the draft a little bit. Not a lot. I'm not saying move back to like 30, but maybe, move back to 23, 24, 25, get a couple extra picks. Nice. That's what's up. Join the YouTube fam over here.
He says we're all a bag of dicks.
Technically.
Yeah. Pretty much.
At some point we were all.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you, man. Kellen Mond, he's very intriguing. You could find him late. And to get draft capital would definitely be a nice thing. I would go for that too.
Yeah.
But they got to get there. They have to get there. And what they have to give up to get there, I don't know if they can.
And that's the tricky situation.
Trade back, or else you're going to end up with nothing.
Right. And that's the tricky situation because we know as fans, at least the smart fans who don't just blow smoke for the Bears, realize like that this is make or break year for this general manager and head coach, right? So realistically, Ryan Pace, do you think he's just going to sit back at 20 and just wait for a quarterback? No, I feel like he's going to screw everything up. He's going to try to jump back into the top 10, give up whatever he has to give up to get into that spot to draft his quarterback. That's what he's going to do. That's my prediction for the 20th pick.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I get it. And, it's scary. It's scary because you don't trust Pace, especially after the Trubisky pick. I mean, whether you're a Mitch Truther or not, you don't trust him to draft another quarterback. That's obvious at this point. All right. Hey, we got another guy on YouTube now. All right, there we go.
What's up?
Right. But no, like you don't trust him, man. And that what it boils down to is they got to fix this, plain and simple. They just have to fix it, Angelo. That's what it boils down to. And it's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take some time. So, Angelo, with that, I know coming out of here, we got a quick little word from our other sponsor, Firehouse Subs. When we come back here, we're going to have Salim on, our guy over from Bulls Gold. He's gonna be waiting in the wings here. So let's start talking some Bulls here, man. Here we go. A quick little word from Firehouse Subs. Firehouse Subs family of restaurant owners and local crews are proud to continue to serve you the hot, hearty, and meaty subs you crave every single day. It's never been easier to grab their subs on the go for you or your entire family. With Firehouse Subs Rapid Rescue to Go, you can order online or on the Firehouse Subs app, and they'll have your subs boxed, bagged, and ready for pickup at their designated to-go areas. No crowds, no lines, no waiting, no problem. or get Firehouse Subs delivered right to your door with your favorite delivery app. Remember, Firehouse Subs was founded by firefighters, so being there to help serve their community, it's in their DNA. Plus, you can still order a variety of cold subs, salads, and dessert catering platters for groups as small as 5. And when you order in Firehouse Subs app, you'll earn points you can redeem for free food like meal upgrades and free subs. A portion of every Firehouse Subs purchase goes towards providing life-saving equipment for first responders. This year, the contributors from Firehouse Subs and their suppliers will total a minimum of $1 million to support first responders via the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. So guys, go on in, get your Firehouse Subs, be there, they're the best, and this is coming from a fat guy, so you know they're the best. So eat Firehouse Subs. All right, and that's a quick little word from our guys over at Firehouse Subs. They are the best. I still eat that place probably more than I should. That's
Firehouse Subs, the place, the building.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it looks like I do. It looks like I just eat the brick and mortar to the brick and mortar store, because I eat so much of that fucking place. But yeah, I mean, they're not. Listen, they're good. They do have healthy options.
Mike, you dropped an F-bomb again. Jesus.
I gotta straighten out. This is
all of a sudden Tarbill comes in the chat and just starts being bad
for everybody. Good job, Andrew Tarbill, making me swear a bunch.
Yeah,
him and Grant Sims. What a bunch of jerks. Yeah. Bunch of dickbags. There we go again. But no, let's bring it on, man. And I'm excited to bring on our guy here, Salim, man. This guy, we were talking about last week. We were talking about the week before. He knows basketball, man. I don't know a lot of basketball. I follow pro. I kind of stay out. But I have been watching the Bulls as of lately, and they've been really, really surprising to me. And with that, let's bring on our guy, Salim, over at Bulls Gold Podcast at Jordan Dynasty. Salim, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Gentlemen, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for coming on again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Angela. Love that hat.
Thanks, man. My mom's husband bought it for me for Christmas.
Nice.
He's all hyped up for the Bulls right now because of how well they've been, kind of holding it down, I guess you would say,
Yeah. They've Bulls basketball is exciting again. I mean, entertaining at the very least.
Right.
And it's been a while.
Yeah, listen, I like I said, Salim, I'm not a bit. I don't know everything and everything about basketball. I watch, I throw on the game if there's nothing else on. Basketball is not my number one sport, okay? But I like what I see out of this basketball team, man. I really like what I've seen out of the new rookie that they got out of Florida State, this kid Patrick Williams. I like what I've seen out of him thus far. I know he's a little banged up right now, right? What's going on with that?
Yeah, he had a little hip thing, so he sat out a few games. I don't think it's too serious. I think it's probably like a game-to-game situation. He should be back at any moment. But yeah, he's been really good. High IQ player, fundamentally sound. Looks like a guy that at the very least will be a solid starting 4. Like a 3-and-D player type of player at the very least. And if the things really do click, you can kind of see him becoming an all-star as well. So, but yeah, he's been phenomenal. Like I said, high IQ defensively. He's so sound, understanding on how to rotate over on help side defense. Obviously, he's very strong too. So he's really good in the post and kind of being able to handle bigger players like against the Lakers, for example, when he was defending LeBron. Now, LeBron, obviously being LeBron, he's going to get his own and made a lot of tough shots over Pat. But in the fourth quarter, Pat really hunkered down, and I think LeBron finished like 2 of 7 in the fourth quarter. Had a lot of tough looks and really did a good job on defending LeBron down the stretch, and was part of the reason why the Bulls were so close and almost won that game.
Right, and you beat me to the punch there, Salim. I was just going to say the same thing. He really kind of locked down LeBron there, even though LeBron still finished with LeBron numbers. He locked him down the last like quarter and a half, and I really liked what I seen out of this kid. And he's a kid. Even LeBron said, I don't know if you have that quote, but LeBron said, he's like, hey, this kid's going to be a stud. pretty much what I got at from it.
What I really like about Patrick Williams is his hustle, man. Like when he's out on the court, he makes the most of the minutes that he has. He might not put up flashy offensive numbers, but it's those garbage plays where, you need somebody to swing over, like you said, on help side defense, or, put a body into somebody. He's willing to do that dirty work. He reminds me of like a young Jimmy Butler, where
I was just going to say the same thing.
Where he would just go and try to make the most of every opportunity he had on the court. Salim, who do you think, watching this team has the potential to really kind of start to add a little more? Like, we know Zach LaVine is the star on this team, right? And marketing's played a little bit better, but do you think marketing can take that next step to be that number 2, superstar that the Bulls need to really become competitive?
I don't know. I don't know if marketing can be a superstar. I think what you're seeing out of him is what you're likely going to get. Nice offensive game, play off the ball a lot, make good cuts to the basket, come off of curls. He's not a guy that can really create for himself in a high capacity. I think in a full court, you can kind of see him being a guy you give the ball to. You can drive full court and drive on guys. But outside of that, I think what you're kind of seeing out of marketing right now is probably about the dream spot where you're probably getting good productive offensive possessions out of him. I do wonder how he'll work out as a starter long term, just because defensively he's tough to kind of put out there, just because that's probably his weakest part of his game is defense, and he really does struggle on the pick and roll defense. So it's interesting to see how that works out. If he'll be long term starter, and that doesn't mean that he's not going to be good. I think he could be a really good offensive punch off the bench. Guys like Montrezl Harrell on the Lakers, who's a really good offensive player, big, that can come in and give you good productive minutes, like 20, 25 minutes a game, and just really give you a lot of offense and energy off the bench. But we'll see if he can still develop as a defensive player, because that's really going to be the key for marketing as a starter long term. And even maybe if he becomes an all-star, is how much better he can get on defense.
Sure.
Salim, how do you feel thus far about how Billy Donovan's been doing, leading this young group of kids?
Yeah, really. So you look at this team last season to this season, the only real differences are on the roster are they added Patrick Williams, a rookie. Like, rookies are rookie, right? Even the best rookie tends to be a bad player, because rookies are still trying to figure themselves out. Even if they're really good, even if they're good for being rookies, they're still kind of up and down. You're not someone that you necessarily can rely on to give you a big boost. Rare players do that, like superstar generational talents really do that. And then they added Garrett Temple, who's a nice veteran, who's been a very good signing for the Bulls, no doubt about that. But so those are the small roster moves that they made addition, and they lost guys like Chris Dunn and Shaq Harrison, with negligible players, really not really big players that can really swing you one way or another. So the biggest change has been from Jim Boylan to Billy Donovan, and I think you're seeing how big of a disaster Jim Boylan was as a head coach. That's just it. That's just the reality of the
that
situation.
Simple?
Yeah, it really is, because Billy's come in. He's done a really good job getting a lot of guys to buy in, like Zach, to buy in on what kind of shots to take, to kind of pick his spot, to move the ball. What we're seeing out of LaVine right now, and I'm not going to necessarily compare him to these players, but as a scorer, a guy that can put the ball in the hoop on like as a 3-level scorer, and by 3-level I mean a guy that can get to the hoop, a guy that can get to the free throw line, and a guy that has a 3-ball. Those guys are rare in this league, and he's a high efficient scorer. Those guys are guys like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, James Harden, the elite offensive players. Scorers, I should say. Now that's the offensive players and scorers, and that's what Zach LaVine has been so far this season. And we'll see if he keeps that up going forward. But his offensive repertoire is right up there with the best of the best. And he's become a better passer. Like I said, he's moving the ball more, and that's a lot to do with Billy Donovan. And Billy is also letting the veteran players be vets. Like he's allowing them to be in the right spots, like a Garrett Temple. He's allowed Garrett to do his thing. Thad Young has gone back to playing his sweet spots. Last season, Boylan, for whatever reason, had him shooting a lot more threes, and that's not really been Thad's game in his career. When you look at Thad Young, he's been a guy that kind of dominates that paint area, and that's what he's gone back to doing. So, yeah, Billy Donovan has been the biggest difference and is the reason the Bulls are looking like a nice functional team that has a lot of nice young pieces that could be on the rise.
Yeah, one of the guys that I've really been impressed with this early on in the season is Wendell Carter Jr. I think he's really shown flashes here where that could be a real solid piece moving forward. What are your thoughts on guys like Wendell or Kobe White moving forward?
Yeah, Wendell is probably one of my favorite players. He's started out a little rough the first, I want to say, 3 games, trying to figure out, kind of learn, because he's a big part of the defense, the new defense that Billy Donovan has, the drop coverage defense. So he was trying to figure and feel himself in, and then trying to feel himself what he'll bring offensively. But since that Warriors game, he's really consistently played at a really good level. He's bought it every day defensively. Offensively, he's solid as far as at least getting, hitting his open looks in the basket, like being certainly more of a rim runner as a big, but he's kind of had that mid-range free throw line area jumper. He's been good with that, finding guys on the short roll, passing it out to guys on the corner for threes and things like that. But yeah, he's been very nice. He's continuously showing improvement at each game it goes by, playing tough, kind of being that anchor for the defense a little bit. And we'll see how much the defense is a little weakness as a team right now. But again, it's a new scheme, so we'll see how much better the team gets as the season goes on. And then a guy like Kobe White is probably kind of up and down a little bit just because he's trying to figure out how to play a new way. He's a good scorer. That's what his mentality. He's a scoring guard. And this season, the Bulls and Billy are asking him to be more of a lead initiator, kind of be more of a point guard, a traditional sense, if you will. So that's something he's struggling with, trying to find that rhythm, try to find that balance of when to kind of get his, but then also trying to make sure that his teammates are involved as well. So he's definitely has a talent, and in the long run, it might be that that's just not suited for him, and he'll be better just being off the ball and allowing himself to be that scorer. But I think this season it's a good time to find out how much he can develop, and if he can get there.
So, Salim, I got a couple here for you, but I want to start off with this one right here. The Bulls are giving up 100 points a game. They've only had one game this year thus far that they've given up less than 100 points. How can this team get better on defense? And is that going to change? Will Billy Donovan crack down on these guys a little bit? Hey, you got to play some D to win some games here.
Yeah, like I said, the defensive scheme is new, so they have to kind of really get used to the new scheme, be better communicating with each other as far as getting over on rotations. The biggest thing, again, is going to be guys like Zach LaVine and Kobe White at the point of attack. A lot of times on the pick and roll, they're a little slower on their man. So that has to pick up. And then the pace of the game, too, has been a little quicker. So that's why, that takes the effect on how many points you give up, too. Because when the pace is faster, you're scoring more possessions that are going to be around, too, because of that. So, yeah, it's all those combinations. So as the season goes on, once they get more maybe familiar with the scheme and more locked on, I think you've seen games where they're in tune and playing really well with each other, right, that they end up playing really good defense. Now, like I said, and the score itself is not necessarily indictment on if the team played good defense, because again, it comes down to the possessions and how many possessions you had and how much you pushed the ball that resulted in other team getting enough possessions to get points too. But yeah, I think they've shown spurts of good defense, but I think the consistency isn't there yet.
Well, on offense, it's almost the contrary. On offense, they've only had one game where they've scored less than 100 points. So the offense is there, and that's something that hasn't been there in a long time. That was against the Bucks at the beginning of the year here, where they still scored 96 points. So the offense is there. As it sits right now, Salim, the Bears. Jesus, what am I talking about? Sorry, we've done a lot of bitching about the Bears over the last couple of weeks, Salim, as you could probably understand. Excuse me. The Bulls right now are sitting at 6-8 and only 3 games out of a couple games, a half game out of making a playoff spot. Can this team surprise us and become a playoff team this year?
Yeah, so the first, want to say 2-3 weeks was kind of a tougher schedule. Like, you saw a lot of the teams that are playing, and after that part of the schedule is done, they're hovering around 500. Now they're going to get into February where the schedule kind of softens up a little bit. And I think if they can get there and continue to play at this level that they're playing at, and continue to show improvement. Like the offensive, they keep moving the ball, keep doing the things that Billy's been preaching, and then defensively continue to show some kind of improvement as the season goes on. And now I'm not expecting them to necessarily be a great defensive team, but if they kind of get on the same page, improve just enough, like maybe instead of being currently they're ranked, I think, the 27th or 26th overall defensively. So maybe if they can get up to like 20, then you really got something cooking. And like I said, February schedule after the next, I want to say 5 games, the February schedule, when it gets a little softer, teams that are not as tough that you've been facing, you won't see as many teams in February, like the Lakers, the Clippers, all these other really contenders. You'll see more softer teams that are maybe around you or not as good as you. Not necessarily not as good as you, but more teams that are around the Bulls as far as talent, and teams that are probably borderline playoff teams and not. But those teams are not nearly as good as obviously the teams that we've been facing. So yeah, I think they could get on a nice run and maybe take advantage of that and find themselves in that 6 to 8 range.
Really? All right. That's what I like to hear, man. I like to see the Bulls back in the playoffs here. They got a game coming up here on Friday against the Hornets, and then on Saturday against the Lakers again. And the Hornets are a decent little team there, and the Lakers, well, obviously they're the returning champs. All right. So I mean, what do you see? What are you seeing in these games against the bigger teams that the Bulls are doing right on things that they can work on? So, is what I'm trying to ask. All right, so like when they go up against these bigger teams that are outscoring them by 30 points, it seems, or 40 points. Obviously, it's defense, but what's one thing that you can pick out that they're doing right, and what's one thing that you can pick out that they need to improve on?
So first things that they can improve on is turnovers. They turn the ball over way too much, and that's another factor of the possessions that pushes their opponent to get a lot of easy baskets off of their turnovers. That they're just too sloppy with the ball. They need to do a better job of taking care of the ball. I think the Clippers game, where they were right there to the end, they could have won that game, but if you look at the reason they lost, they had like 25, 24 turnovers, and you know, against a really good team like that. I mean,
and they lost by 3 points. I watched the entire game; it drove me nuts.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine if they had even had 4 less turnovers, you probably win that game because of that. But like I said, it's just about taking care of the ball. So that's really, and that's what Billy's been kind of hammering in on them too, that we need to take care of the ball. You can't shoot yourself in the foot, especially against teams of that caliber. What they can get better at, I mean, I think just continue to do what they've been doing on offense, move the ball, trust each other. Like Zach, the way he's been playing, he's kind of learned from Billy that he doesn't need to be the hero all game. He doesn't need to bail them out all game. Kind of, like I said, trust his teammates, move the ball, and then when it's time, and that's what star players do. They pick their spots throughout the game, and then when it's needed, they'll take over. And I think you're kind of seeing that from him. Like this last game against the Rockets is a perfect example. He did a good job. He was moving the ball, trusting his teammates, and then in the third quarter when they needed him to, he rattled off like 14 points. Just kind of took over. And in a blink of an eye, he had 27. I think he ended up with like 33. But like I said, just picking his spots, being smarter, and doing things like that. And then, like I said, just continues to learn on defense and trust each other, better communication and better effort, especially from the guards at the point of attack. Just be stronger at that end. And I think they'll continue at that point. If they do those things, you'll see the improvement as the season goes on.
Our guy Alan Bratcher in the chat here says the same exact. He's chiming in from the Facebook chat. He says the Thunder game was almost identical, where they had 24 turnovers.
Yeah, exactly.
They only lose by 2 points. So obviously that's a big thing that the Bulls need to work on, right, Salim? So that's good. I'm glad you kind of gave everybody an insight on that a little bit, because I'm sitting there, I'm watching the games too, and I'm getting all pissed off because I don't know what the hell's going on, because I don't understand the game of basketball no more.
Yeah,
the guys just team up with people, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, the Thunder game's like a tale of two teams, like the good Bulls and the bad Bulls. So you saw them have a big lead. They had like a 22, 24-point lead on the Thunder. They were doing everything right, moving the ball, playing good defense. And then they just started turning the ball over, taking bad shots, just constantly doing bad things on defense, getting easily especially on the pick and roll, allowing Lou Dort or SGA to just get to the rim easily. And then obviously it was kind of weird with especially having Markkanen out there, like I talked about. He allowed obviously easy shots at the rim, because especially when the guards aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing at the point of attack, like I've been saying, then Markkanen is not really a good rim protector, so he gives up easy baskets. But like I said, yeah, that game again, it's a high turnovers. Really, the biggest thing was the high turnovers that ended up really cooking them.
And that's why I like Billy Donovan, man. Like, I think it was that game where Kobe White, he ended up like calling him out at the end of the game, right? Where he said that he had spoke to Kobe about they were on a little bit of a run, the momentum was going in their favor, and then Kobe had hit a couple shots, and he comes down the floor for like a heat check and misses the shot, and it kind of swung the momentum for a while. I think that having Donovan is really going to help him specifically, because he's worked with point guards like Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul. So he's familiar with that facilitator on the point guard position. Now, going forward, who do you need to see take over as more of an option for them on scoring other than Zach LaVine? Because you can't just rely on LaVine, to give you all the points you need to keep up with these higher offense teams.
I think just as a team, so there's a couple of guys. I think Lowry can keep doing his thing, contribute as the way he has been. Biggest thing with Lowry is hit when you're open at the three. He needs to be more consistent there. You kind of still see him miss a lot of wide open looks, which is kind of frustrating. But he's shooting the ball better overall for sure, no doubt about that. Kobe, again, his consistency, he's trying to figuring out how to balance himself by being that point guard, but also looking for his shots and when to look for his shot, and not to always try to just if he hasn't gotten a shot off in a while, it doesn't mean he needs to shoot. Obviously, making sure it's in the flow of the offense and you're taking good shots, and that's what it really comes down to.
Nice. How do you feel out of Porter Jr.'s you've been doing so far this year, Salim?
He's been steady. I think he's been in and out of the lineup. Again, he has some health issues. But the veterans really – so the big thing with the Bulls right now, it's been the veterans and Billy Donovan. And a lot of the lineups that Billy closes with, it's usually with 3 veteran players, and then he has mixed in with Zach and Kobe, usually. And then since Lowry's come back, I think Lowry's been out there. So he closes it with like Garrett Temple and Thad Young and Otto Porter. And then he mixes and usually Kobe or Zach are out there, but sometimes he'll take Kobe out and put, like I said, Garrett Temple in. And then if Lowry's out there, he'll definitely have Thad and Otto closing for sure. So yeah, Otto has been good. He's been solid, productive when he's obviously on the court. He's been given good minutes. Let's see if he can keep it up. It'll be interesting. Hopefully he can stay healthy. That's the key again with his health.
All right, Salim. So like I said earlier in the show, they got the Hornets coming up and they got the Lakers coming up. How do you see that these guys fare over the next 2 games?
Hornets is very winnable. That's a team that's about right there with the Bulls, a young team that has some talent, and then they have solid veterans as well. So that game should be a game the Bulls can go in and say, you know what, we can compete with this team and win. The Lakers, we'll see. Obviously, last time they were competitive with them. But again, Anthony Davis was not in that game last time when the Bulls played the Lakers. We'll see what they do this coming weekend. If the Lakers set anyone, I don't imagine they will, because I was looking at the schedule and the Lakers aren't in like a back-to-back situation. So I would imagine both LeBron and AD will play. At that point, it's going to be tough. We'll see if they can, like I said, we'll see if they can man up with them. It'll be very encouraging if you go in and, you don't talk about with a young team, it's like moral victories. You don't really like celebrate. You don't like to celebrate moral victories, but you take them when you see a championship team, full championship squad, and you go in there and you're competing with them until the very last second final buzzer, and even if you lose, you only lose by a couple of points. That's still encouraging. So we'll see what happens come Saturday. But that's probably if the Lakers are a full squad, that's more likely a loss. But we'll see. Like I said, this team has been competing, and there's not much more you can ask for right now than them going out there, improving every game, listening to what Billy's teaching them, listening to the young guys, listening to the veterans, and just going out there and playing smart, competitive basketball.
I'm going to start calling them the Don't Count Them Out Bulls, man, because they look pretty good so far. They're in almost every single one of these games. Salim, I appreciate you joining us, my friend. How can everybody find you? How can we follow you, and where can we listen to you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Jordan Dynasty. I also manage my podcast account is at Bulls Gold. You can listen to it at Bulls Gold too. At any major or minor podcast platforms. Obviously, the major ones being Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Google Play, all those good services. And yeah, you can find me in all of those places.
All right, Salim, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy night and joining us again. I know that you're always busy. Thank you so much for joining us again, my friend. We will talk very, very soon.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so much.
Take care, Salim.
Take care.
All right, our guy Salim from Bulls Gold Podcast, at Jordan Dynasty. You can follow him there. Listen, this guy knows more basketball than I like. He's forgotten more basketball than I know, Angelo, and that's legit. All right, that's legit. He's forgotten more basketball than I know. So I'm glad to bring him on and he can educate me, because I'm watching this game like, what the fuck is going on here with this team?
That's fine.
That's a fine. I'm just here so I won't get fined.
That's right. We should make a swear jar, and every time you swear, we got to put 5 cents in there.
We'll just here so every week. But yeah, no, I mean, dude, we had a great show tonight, man. Lester Wiltfong coming on, Wester Wiltfong Jr. coming on with us from Woody City Gridiron. Salim from Bulls Gold. It's been a good show.
Yeah, it's nice to talk. Nice to talk some other other sports teams other than just the Bears. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Wait, man. Next week's gonna be good too. We're gonna be talking baseball.
Yeah.
That's my go-to. Angelo, you've only been with me through the football season. Wait till you get me through baseball season and I start pitching and moaning about the Cubs.
Well, you'll have lots of.
You're gonna be like, why did I even come to this show? This is miserable. I quit. That's what's gonna happen.
I don't quit, man. I'm not a quitter.
I'm not a quitter. That's what Johnny Lawrence says in Cobra Kai when he accidentally
top of the Cobra Kai. It's been Cobra Kai all night. It's Cobra Kai all night and on Twitter.
Dude, I'm Cobra Kai out, man.
Over your Twitter.
Dude, the best quote of the show happened today when I was watching the show. Did you see that? Did you see that Twitter post?
I don't know. You have like 6,000 6,000
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. No. No, dude, he's like he gets his dojo taken away. And he's like, so he starts doing karate lessons out of the park. And he's like, all right, take a 5-minute break. He's like, go get some water. And they're like, oh, yes, sensei. He's like, just not out of that fountain. I see a meth head wiping his ass. I was dying. I had to pause and rewind it. It was some of the funniest shit that I've heard. It was great.
Funniest stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know. Damn, I keep on swearing.
Yep.
I can't get
put us on HBO.
I can't get it. It's bad news.
Serious radio.
I gotta stop quoting Cobra Kai, man. It's all Cobra Kai.
Yeah, we're listening to Tarbill in the chat.
Cobra Kai never dies.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. All right. Well, let's wrap this puppy up, Angelo. Let's give a special thanks out to our new sponsor over there at Coldwell Banker Group, Jonathan Durin, Coldwell Banker Real Estate, Jonathan Durin out of Homer Glen. Go to him. He'll find you a house, and you can buy that house, and he will help you find your house. So there you go. Go to him. And then also a special thank you to Firehouse Subs once again. You guys keep me Fat Mike, and that's why, listen, just keep me Fat Mike. If I lose you guys, then I'm going to be relatively Fat Mike. And then I'll be Slim Mike, and then I'll be Starving Mike, and then I'll be Dead Mike because I won't have to eat you guys anymore. All right, so keep on feeding Fat Mike. And then not only that, man, but thank you to Lester Wolfong from over at Windy City Gridiron, and thank you to Salim over at Bulls Gold Podcast. We appreciate those guys hopping on with us. And thank you to everybody in the chat. We really do appreciate you hopping on with us. It was a great show. Angelo, thank you. Thank you, buddy. And guys, really quick, make sure you follow us on Twitter. You get to go to @1252 Sports, @1252_sports. You get us up to 200. We'll pick a random dude at random and get it going and give somebody a shirt.
Not this exact shirt, but you'll get a Team 1252 Sports shirt. I'm not the one that I'm wearing. I like this one. But we'll get the 200, and then that's where we pick a free one.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So you guys in the chat, share our stuff. Share the 1252 page.
Cobra Kai is made for teenagers.
But it's made for the nostalgia, Angelo. The adult moments of nostalgia. Read the rest of the quote, you dickbag.
Nope.
All right. Have you watched it yet?
No.
That's because you don't even understand, dude. You're not part of Cobra Kai, dude. Eagle Fang
doesn't understand. Parents just don't understand.
Eagle Fang, dude. Eagle Fang. Yeah. You don't know.
I don't know. I haven't watched it yet.
Well, you better get on that. I don't know what to tell you. So this show's over, guys. We're done. If you guys, this isn't a long show, Angelo, an hour and 34 minutes.
Yeah, this is the longest one we've had recently, but we had some big guests and we complained about the Bears. So
we didn't, though. We didn't shit on them.
Bears make me feel very angry.
Very, very Johnny Lawrence.
This look weird that I'm in all red.
Hey, you look like you're in one of those. It looks like you're a guy who takes creepy photos at a park of children, and now you're in his Polaroid room.
That's fucking
developing the film. Like a creepy fucker.
You're weird.
Well, don't do that.
Guess I'm weird too then.
Yeah. So, all right, we're done. Let's get the fuck out of here, Angelo. It was a good show. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. It was a great show. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Until then, Have a good one and keep track and follow us and stuff. So there you go.
Adios.
Peace, guys. Peace.